Hi everybody and welcome to Josiah's Right. Today we're going to take a look at the Punisher Wolverine crossover story, The African Saga. Now to start with, the word saga is being a bit more than generous here. Star Wars, that is a saga, my friends. In comics, the Dark Phoenix Saga is a saga. It's in the title, as it should be. This book is a compilation of 2 issues. 2 issues does not a saga make, with Days of Future Past being a rare exception. The 2 issues in question here are Punisher War Journal number 6 and 7, both featuring Wolverine and clearly telling you that it's guest starring him. Then, as now, as forever shall it be, Wolverine sells comic books. The story is by Carl Potts, who also did the layouts along with a young pre-X-Men Jim Lee. Lee did the finished art as well. This is just before Lee's first guest issue on X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 248. Potts and Lee had collaborated earlier on Alpha Flight. Clearly also starring Wolverine. Like I said, he sells comic books. All of this is setting up Jim Lee becoming the regular artist on Uncanny X-Men shortly thereafter. Which he did for a little while, until the mega-selling multi-cover X-Men number 1, before leaving shortly after that to form Image Comics. The art in this book is great, a more gritty, less posed style of Jim Lee art, which could be due to the earliness in his career or the gritty nature of the characters in the story here. Grit fits well, and this has grit. The story begins with the Punisher and his mechanic/sidekick Micro. Frank is worn out. Micro suggests a vacation. Micro connects him. Really, he tricks him into taking work as a survival specialist for a rich, big-game hunter from Texas. Meanwhile, in Madripoor, Wolverine is hunting a poacher. He then wears a cheetah pelt. Really because it looks cool, but he says he's taking it back to Africa. Returning it home, I guess. In Africa, we meet the pygmy natives. This is the borderline, or maybe not so borderline, racist part, as they are clearly very primitive, wearing these diaper things. Of course, they show their worth in the jungle. It turns out, the hunt is for a dinosaur. There's also a subplot about the hunter's wife having an affair with a poacher. That's really irrelevant, other than the fact that it sets up the fight between Punisher and Wolverine. Bad timing results in Logan thinking that Punisher is the poacher. Logan wins round 1. Frank then goes on the hunt. There are more subplots that really don't get resolved here, so they feel kind of out of place and don't connect to this story. I'm sure they were setting up stories that go beyond in other Punisher War Journal comics, though. One such subplot, it's about a guy who's in Texas at the Hunter dude's house, but he's a vision, or he's having a vision, I think. There are more dinosaurs. Big, boring dinos. In a Wolverine Punisher comic, you want them to fight a T-Rex. Had Jack Kirby drawn this comic book and these characters, you'd bet Devil Dinosaur would show up. The homewrecker and the poacher stupidly shout, they think the other guy's the bad guy, shoot. Of course, had they just shot, at least one of them would be dead. They leave the poacher, wrapped in the pelt, and the dinos come, and they walk on him. No awesome maulings, and we don't even get to see him get his bones crushed. Anyway, the jungle gets its justice, and the audience gets cheated. In the ultimate classy move, Big Punch shoots the hussy in the back. I know he's an anti-hero, but come on, that is technically your employer's wife. And again, the real cheat here is the audience. Hey! And the lack of a truly great, we misunderstood each other Marvel superhero team up and fight the real bad guys, final battle kind of thing. As a kid, this was a beloved story for me. I even had trading cards of it, including Punisher fighting that alligator. I realized there are some awesome splash panels here, but to get these 2 characters together, it really deserves a better story, a more dynamic story. Really, the plot you have here, extended out, would work really well to that effect. Just give it more time to grow, be a more natural thing, not just suddenly Wolverine's in Africa, suddenly Punisher's in Africa. Bring them there, draw them out, draw them together through the story. It could really work well. And again, 2 issues usually is enough to make a saga. In short, this book cost me $1, maybe $2, and it's a fun read if you like those characters. If not, it's probably not worth your time. If you liked, please hit like. Also, leave a comment. Who would win, Punisher or Wolverine? In this book, unfortunately, they didn't get to truly fight, so we don't know. We may never know, but you can tell us. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and thank you, and remember, Josiah is right, even about superhero fights. When one of them isn't technically a superhero, and he's just a guy with a lot of guns.